So good afternoon. So I hope you are all good. So today we're going to do, we're going to cover a bit of softwares, and we're going to do smartpss and config tool, because I feel that we need to handle this one so that if we finish the software, it would be easy for other system settings or configuration. Okay, so I'm sharing with you config tool screen. So if you have interacted with maybe Vision or other products, you would realize they have their own software that we use to manage their devices. So basically, config tool for Dahua is used to manage most, if not all, our products. So any of our products that supports IP information can be configured using config tool. So you can get the parameters, other information using this kind of software. So at the moment, you can see I have one device. So the one device is just an access controller that we have installed in our office. That is for checking in or access control purposes, and it's connected to the network. So this one, you can just disregard this one. But for demonstration purposes, what I'm going to be using is a camera. So I have a camera connected to a switch, a standard switch near me here. So a switch connecting to a camera, then the switch is connecting to my computer via the LAN, and I'm in the same network segment as the camera. So let me just so what config tool basically does is to discover the products or Dahua products at the network. So, okay, now you can see it. So we can see I have two devices, one camera and access control. So what we're going to use is this camera, and at the moment you can see there are two states of devices here. So you can see status, initialized and uninitialized. Maybe just to first go through it, the interface. So the software works on Windows. It's a Windows-based application. We don't have for Mac and Linux-based at the moment. So by default, the resolution of the software is minimal. That's why you can see it in half a screen, not full screen. So if you are running a big resolution screen, you might find it even becoming lower than this, small in size than this. Also, the interface, you can see we have here, it will show you the number of devices that you have found in the network. This one you can refresh to confirm number of devices. So you'll come and check this button. So this one is regarding such settings. There's another option here, we'll come and check. Then on the left side, we have config tool. We have, that's the title of the software. So we have the menu for modify, we have upgrade functionalities, we have device configuration functionalities from the config tool, we have system settings. So system settings with regard to time and other purposes. We have password resets, we have building configuration. So we'll check later what building configuration and CGI protocol is, which are a bit advanced or more into detail. So we begin by launch of software, you'll be landing to this page. And if you can refresh, you can find the devices in your network. So you can see we have two devices. So I'm going, this camera at the moment is like you just bought a camera from the box So it's an initialize, meaning that you need to set every other parameter. So to initialize a camera, just select the camera and do initialize here. So initialize, we can, you click next, you need to set the password for the camera. I'm going to set it as admin123. The password also as admin123. You have the option of using the email address or not using it. So I'm not going to set the email. EZ4IP auto check updates, you just click OK. And you will see an activation. So if you don't see an activation, you might, the error will be shown on you, on your side. So the camera at this point is initialized. Maybe to touch on such settings. So such settings means that sometimes you might be having a very large network. Maybe you have your camera segmented in another networks or so and so. So you can do searching of devices in either your segment. So your segment means that your computer is in the same network segment as your devices, or maybe you can even filter results to another such segment. So you can even filter IP address so that you have a minimal list here. You can even decide to search from 1.10 to 1.20. So you have the 10 devices displayed on your search results. So this other button here, the drop down, you have the app help, which will help you to access the manual. So it will just open a manual for the same. You have the most common Q&A questions, that is regarding the config tool. You have an option for about, so it will change the version and agreement, etc. Then you have a settings. So settings here means that sometimes there are those devices that you might find hard finding it in your network, or maybe their version firmware is too low. So you can opt, by default it's security mode, but you can opt for compatibility mode. So compatibility mode comes with risks, but it's good maybe you just operate it in compatibility mode for easier finding of products in the network and doing those low-end configurations. So apart from that, apart from this option here, so maybe from this interface of modify IP, so you might need to change the IP address of a device. So what you need to do for you to change the IP address of a device in config tool, you first need to be able to set the parameters of login for the camera so that you can change the IP address, and this is done at this point here. So such settings, then I'm going to do on our segment, username and password for the camera. So I'm going to set the password for the camera. Then I click OK. Then for me to reset, I need to just go to the device here and click edit. So I can set the new IP address. So let me give it like IP address of 10. And you have even the option of using the HCP. So you will see a tick if it's successful. If it's not successful, the error will be displayed there. Most likely it's because of maybe network issues or timeout. So maybe you are not in the same network segment. If you can't change it from this side, you can go to the web interface of the camera. So at this point, if I refresh, you can see the camera's new IP address is .10. Maybe you want to check maybe other properties of the camera. You can click details, and it will fetch the port number the camera is using. You can see the MAC address, the current subnet gateway, the serial number, maybe even the version of the firmware and the date which the firmware was created, even the model of the camera. So I hope this screen is okay. So next, in device upgrade. So for device upgrade, it's pretty much the same. So for you to upgrade a device, you need to confirm the search settings, that is the username and password for the camera. Then you go to the device that you're going to upgrade. You click on the file here. Then it will take you to a path. So you need to have downloaded first the firmware from our website to your local computer, extract the files, then locate those files and select them. Then you do upgrade by clicking the right button here. So that is for regarding upgrade. So at times you might decide to do batch upgrade. So batch upgrade, you select the devices that you want to do batch upgrade. And you are supposed to select same type devices so that they can pick the same firmware. So you select the file path. So it's a next thing, very easy. And maybe we go to device config. So device config for different device models is you can apply various ways to configure a device. Maybe for a camera, we can, for you to be able to check the configuration that you can do with config tool, just double click on the device. It will fetch the information from the camera, and you can set even all the parameters of the camera. Advantage of config tool is that it makes bulk work easier. Like if you have done setting for one camera, you can just say apply to, then you can apply to all the cameras in your network. So that's the advantage of config tool. We have an image. We can also view the image of the camera. So you can see I can view the image. You can set the image settings and those other parameters. You can do easy focus. So you can even try to focus on varifocal and those kind of lenses. Maybe other settings like so you can see those properties I'm trying to set. You can set the HLC, WDR, etc. Profile management. So basically, you can do the settings for the camera, and so generally all the basic properties of the settings for the camera. Maybe we can try to see. This one is an access controller, so you can see which kind of settings the access controller can provide to us. So you can see for access controller, you have limited functions, like you can only set the channel number, the card number, and only you can even check the port number, but so it's minimal for some devices, but it's maximum for some other devices. Like for video intercom, you can do maximum settings. For IPC, you can do more settings, but for access control, you might do very minimal settings. Maybe some other portion is system settings. So system settings is in terms of time settings. You can reboot the device manually, setting the time zone, changing the password for the devices, restoring the device to default, passwords, and maybe doing batch configurations. So we can select this camera. You can say we want the time to sync to our computer. So this time it's saying 1418. So I think it's the same time as my PC. So you can say is that, and you have to save your settings. So you can do DST. You can change the time zone so to suit best your country. You can do even manual rebooting of the camera. You can restore the camera to default. So if you want to restore to default, select the device, ensure that your password here is the password for the device, then you can do restore to default, factory default. So if you want to change the password, the same applies here. So you need to first enter the password, do a check on the password, then it will allow you to now change the password. So also video format. So it's just basic configuration. And also the advantage of config tool, as I'll repeat, is just it helps you to, in terms of large work, or maybe you're going to do large sets of Dahua products, very convenient software that will help you to be able to configure such with very ease and make your work very simple. So maybe, is there any question? Maybe it's not clear. There's no question or something that you don't understand, you can confirm. So another section is the password reset. So password reset you can do batch reset. That is, you can reset a lot of devices at the same time.
So it's fine for me.
Okay. So you can do batch reset for a lot of devices. You can do single reset for devices. So depending on any case, for example, you can do a password reset for this camera. So if you're going to do password reset, you have different options. You have the options of using QR code and XML. So if it's a single camera, just click reset on this side. You'll receive some notification. You agree on the same. So it will tell you that the email is not email. For example, my case, I did not save the email, so I'm not going to use the email method. It will give me a file called an XML file so that I can send the file to our Dahua email, and it will respond with the XML, which is decrypted. So email address is reserved. Do you want to set it? Blah, blah, blah. I can say, okay. Okay. So maybe something that you need to note, if you had not set your device with an email, in maybe cases like NVR, it will tell you to put an email again so that you can use the email to set. But what if you are, for this case, it's not telling you to put an email. So if I do cancel, if I do agree, and then I say no email is reserved, you need to reset with XML, you click OK. So you need to use the email which will send XML password reset file must be enterprise mailbox, meaning that you cannot send with a normal Gmail file. You can send with a domain email. So depending on your company. So you understand by domain email. For example, mine is kipwach.shelton@dahuatech.com. Such kind of emails can be used to reset devices that had not been set emails. So I think that's clear. So it will export a file for you. So what it does, it will export a file for you. So after exporting the file, what you will be required to do is you take that file and write an email, attach the file to So you will create an email and attach it to this password, to this email here, support_reset password@global.dahuatech.com. So after sending the XML file to this email, that is the exported file, you will import the response. They'll respond with you with a decrypted file. You will take that file and import it. Then now you can modify the password. It's something that's simple. So that is apart from the hardware reset and the other from the DVR. So that is in terms of password reset. If you're going to have a lot of devices, you can do batch reset. Then it will export a file, you import for the same. So it's just more of the same thing. So for a building configuration, so this building configuration, it's more of video intercom system, which I did not want to do this for this case. So it's more of intercom configuration. You can see even the building here is more of intercom. So you can do later we'll come and do configuration of building config using config tool for intercom system. CGI protocol. So CGI also protocol is more of third party integration, something like that. So this is just like doing configuration using the CGI. So unless you understand the CGI, it's something that's a bit different that needs to be covered in another aspect. So I hope that is okay from that point. So that's the first software that I'm going to handle. Next, I'm going to move to smartpss. Next, there's a question regarding this. So next, I'm going to move to another software that we have. And it's called smartpss. So maybe one question is like, how can you access the files for? How can you access the software for the smartpss software or config tool? So it's easy. So the way you access is just go to any browser and type Dahua config tool. So after searching the config tool, the first link, that is Dahua wiki, you click on it. So it should be Dahua wiki. Then you can see the software. You can select different version, but just go for this version 5. You can select for Windows and Mac. Also, there's for Mac OS. You can select any of the two regarding your computer. Install it. It's a run. Then you can run it. The other software is smartpss. So smartpss is the same link as Dahua wiki. Just click on the first link as Dahua wiki. You can download for Windows, Mac OS with M1 chip and the Mac OS with Intel based. And the features for smartpss is as follows. So if you're going to do management of our devices now to the application side or more of interacting with the devices more, you can do with smartpss. So it supports up to 64 devices with a maximum of 256 channels. So basically you can add only 64 cameras. So you can add attendance devices, you can add video intercom, you can have even time attendance and access control devices. So you can even add NVR to your smartpss and configure it. You can configure PTZ camera, control it. You can do even IVR settings, etc. So the limitations for smartpss, as I say, you cannot add more devices, only manage very, very few devices. And the requirement for computer is that you need to have a computer with maybe 1 GB RAM or higher. You also need to have a processor, a good processor, so and a good resolution. So basically that. Now we are going to talk about the smartpss. So this is the smartpss that. So for this case, this version is a version 2.03. So different versions. Some other versions support video intercom. This newer version does not support video intercom. Maybe from the interface, after opening the smartpss software, this is the interface that you will be presented with. That is after installing the software and everything. You set the password, username. You'll have this interface here. I'll talk about the interface. So here's the logo. So from this top right, you can see this something like a speaker. So if you have alarms or maybe configured alarm system, maybe events in case of a tripwire, you can have the alarms coming to your smartpss, but you can mute them. So that is the events basically. Next, you're going to have your user. So you can download the manual, you can check the about. You can have the user wizard, that is which will help you showing you next, etc. You can do settings for this smartpss. That is in terms of more like local settings. You can change the log system settings in terms of which functions should do what. The local path to the files you can back up and restore, but it's good to leave this information here as default. So you leave it as it is. So it's just a best practice to do for this case. So the other menu, you can check how your computer is performing regarding the software. So is it consuming much CPU? Do you need to upgrade? So this one just for diagnostic purposes. Later after this, so we have the menu for operation and search and configuration. So in your operation, you have the live view, that is viewing a camera. You can see the camera, you can record the camera, you can take a snapshot, and you can even configure PTZ or move the PTZ camera, do basically PTZ operations. After that, we have access. So access is more related to access control devices. We have video wall. Video wall will do video wall devices. We have events. So this one will help you to show you real-time alarm events. So if we configure a motion detection on camera, we can do that on this session. You can have the events here to show you live. We have attendance application, that is for in case you're going to do time attendance applications. Maybe just something to mention with the time attendance. This smart PC supports only a maximum of 10 time attendance configuration. That is, you can have, if you have multiple branches or a company, you can only do up to 10 devices. So that is something to put into note. So in case, because there's a client who did smart PCS time attendance with a bank, and they wanted to add more branches, so it was becoming a challenge on their side. For the search, you can do a search for the playback. That is, you can search the videos, you can search the people counting records, you can do the heat map, and etc. Configuration devices. Devices is more related to device configuration or maybe adding devices to your platform. Device config, event configurations. So this event configuration matches with the event here. Tour task. This one is about showing. You talked about tour in cameras. That is, the display will show different channels at different times. You can configure the users, so you can add different users to your platform. So you have different users with different purposes, so that each user can achieve a specific function. So maybe just for basic, let me add a camera to this smart PCS, and we can view it. So you just go to devices. You can do auto search. So auto search will search your current network segment. You can add manually. So in manual adding, you can add you can say the device name. You can add either using IP address or P2P. So for P2P, it means that you have different cameras in different places, not in the local network, connecting via internet. So you connect them via internet and manage them from this case. Maybe just a good example. We have a customer who was doing people counting in multiple retail shop. So what he did, he just bought cameras, installed those cameras in different shops, ensured the cameras the cameras have internet, then now connected the cameras to the smart PSS using P2P and achieved the function of people counting. Very easy. That. So it was a cheaper way and an efficient way to achieve such kind of scenario. So you can add the camera. You can even delete some of the devices in your system, or you can import devices. You can import devices like from other smart PCs. So you can export from another smart PCs and import it to this smart PCs. So from EZ4 IP cloud. So you need to have account with this EZ4 IP cloud. But for this case, you can just do auto search. So if you refresh, you can see the camera here. I select it, so it's in this segment. If it was in a different segment, you could have changed the information here. So I select this one, I add it. You'll be prompted to add the username and password. So after adding the camera, you should see it as online. If it is not online, you can see the error here. It will tell you either the password is wrong, network issue. So if you're in a different network segment or maybe network problem, you can check from this side. Maybe some of the operations here include, you can change the IP address. So you can modify the IP address to go to maybe .11. You can call it camera demo. So if I click that, I can click save. And you can see that the camera has changed to 11. Sorry, so that's not modifying the camera. Oh, sorry. So if you want to change the camera, this is regarding only maybe changing the name of the camera and confirming the username and password is okay. So if you want to change the IP address or other parameters of the camera, just click device config. Or maybe you can just go to this point here. So you can go to device config, then you select which device you want to configure. So if it's camera demo, you click on it, so you can upgrade the device. If you link it to web, you can access the web interface of the camera locally to your computer. So this is if you're going to do P2P, so you say link the camera to web. It will make the camera as if you're accessing it locally, but accessing the web interface of the camera. It's a very good feature. So for camera local settings, you can check the camera encode settings, the image settings, so audio and etc. You can configure the network settings. So even other PPOE, etc. You can do events. So you can do motion detection with this kind of camera, but we'll do in another place. You can do storage settings. So if the camera supports a hard disk, you can do storage settings. You can do time settings, serial number, as a time setup, etc. So just basically settings for the camera. The same you're accessing settings from the config tool. We are going to do this later. So from the device interface, this is basically these two buttons. We have logout. You can log out from the camera. You can delete it single. I'm not going to go talk about the config. Maybe just we check on the live view. So if you want the live view of the camera, just click on the live view, select the camera, or you can drag it to the preview interface. So maybe just to highlight on something. So you can see this camera can have different output video streams. Sometimes you might have situation where a camera does not have this, like cannot support to add this a lot of video streams from it. We might give you an error of like resources not sufficient. So maybe we can create a view. So in the interface for the live view, we have organization. So this will tell you the cameras that you have in your, or the devices. So in the organization, I can create another organization here. So I can say new group. I call it cameras. So I have group for cameras. I can say another group maybe for access control. So access control. So in cameras, I can say new group for cameras. I can call it branch A cameras. So you can see cameras, I can have branch A, then I can drag this camera to come to branch A cameras. So if you had access control, you can drag one device to come to that access control list. So I hope that is clear. So creating views. So the view means that the devices that will be shown on the screen. So you can say a new default group. You can say viewing branch A cameras. You can save it. So I can have viewing branch A cameras, and I can select here. I can select four views. So branches maybe has 4 cameras. I can have four cameras here. I'm sorry, maybe just. Maybe we can just do the easiest way. You can just create. We can add the cameras here to the display, maybe 3. Then after adding these cameras here, you can save this as a view. You can say viewing branch A cameras 1 in a group name. I can set it as default group. Then you can you click OK. So if you come to the views here, if you select maybe you can have another view which has maybe no camera. You can save it as the 16 or 8. Save it as viewing branch C cameras. So I set it as a default group. I click OK. So if you go to the views, if you go to default views, if you select viewing branch A, so you cannot you have the option of not every time coming and dragging the cameras, but just select a view. If I select branch C, you can see the branch C has these cameras. If I select branch A, you can see it has these cameras. Just an easy way to achieve views. So apart from that, we have the PTZ function. So for you to achieve PTZ, you need to select the stream that you want to use settings. So for this case, we cannot achieve for our case. Motorized, so we can't do these zooming functions. So if you had PTZ, we could have done configuration easily. So from the interface, you can see we have talked about views, we talked about the devices, we have talked about device config. So let me just talk about event configuration. So you can click event config. Then you select the camera, double click on it. So you can, I think we can do motion detection. So we can just click motion detection. After double clicking, it will fetch information from the camera. You can do motion detection. So enable motion detection from the camera. We can have alarm sound. We can link video. Notify. Can send email, etc. Then you can click save. So it will tell you successfully. If it's an error, it will show you. Then you have motion detection, then there is smart motion detection. So it's good to use the SMD. So we also have a Tripwire. You can enable Tripwire. Click save. So how do you configure Tripwire? So from Tripwire, I think there should be a place where you can be able to configure the Tripwire and the zones. So Tripwire, I will check on the same. So maybe we just take a small break, then you come and do intelligent function using the camera and maybe Tripwire and intrusion. Just a break of 10 minutes, we'll be back. Yes, break of 10 minutes, we come back. Then we resume on these settings here.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, okay.
So let's have a small break, then we'll be back for the same.